I discovered a mysterious mirror in an old attic that could make you disappear into your own reflections. Every time I would turn on the light above the mirror, I would vanish completely. Not just invisible, gone. The first time it happened, I thought it was just a cool trick. My friends couldn't resist trying it too, but then my friends started looking different after coming back. Their reflections had switched places with them, trapping the real them inside the mirror's cold glass world. Inside that mirror was a terrifying place. Endless white space, filled with floating, distorted faces of everyone who got trapped before. My reflection tried to take my place in the real world, but I barely escaped when my brother accidentally smashed the mirror with a baseball. The evil reflections were sucked back in, cracking into pieces. My friends returned to normal, but something still wasn't right. My brother, who had always been left-handed, was now throwing right-handed. Did we really trap all the reflections when we broke that mirror? Or is there still some walking among us, wearing our faces, living our lives? Look closely in your mirror tonight. Is that really your reflection staring back? Or are you the one trapped in the mirror? Living dummies are real, and I have proof. My sister and I found an old ventriloquist dummy in a construction site dumpster. His painted grin seemed friendly at first, until I read those ancient words carved inside his pocket. Karu, Mari, Odana, Loma, Molanu, Coreno. That's when everything changed. At night, I'd hear footsteps in our room. The dummy would move positions when no one was looking. My parents thought I was crazy when I told them it was the dummy who destroyed the kitchen, covering it in green slime that poured from its wooden mouth. But the worst part? He tried to strangle our dog, and then threatened to kill everyone we loved. We tried burying him at the construction site, but he crawled out, covered in mud and rage. His painted eyes followed us everywhere, promising revenge. Finally, we chased him into the path of a steamroller. We thought it was finally over when we heard the crunch of his wooden body and green gas hissed out like a demon's last breath. That was until we got home. There, in my sister's chair, sat Slappy, another dummy we owned. His head turned toward me as his jaw opened. "Hey, slave, is that other guy gone? I thought he'd never leave." Some evil never truly dies. It just finds a new puppet to possess. Librarians aren't always what they seem, and I discovered the horrifying truth. Mr. Mortman seemed normal during our reading club meetings, until I stayed late one evening. He didn't know I was still there, and I saw his head starting to swell like a balloon, eyes bulging out, mouth twisting into a black hole. That's when I saw him grab live crickets from a jar and shovel them into his mouth, humming with pleasure. But it got worse. He picked up one of his pet turtles, cracking its shell between his teeth while it was still alive. I tried telling my parents, but who believes a kid who sees monsters? I tried taking photos for proof, but he didn't show up in them, just an empty library chair. Tonight, he locked the doors during our meeting, his wet hands reaching for me as his face began to change. I escaped through a window and ran home terrified. My parents decided to invite him over for dinner to show me that there is nothing to be afraid of. They smiled as he sat on our couch, sipping iced tea nervously. That's when my parents revealed their own secret. Their fangs popped out and they devoured him whole. Turns out my family were monsters too. They just hadn't told me yet. Mom says I'll get my own fangs soon. Sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones hiding in plain sight, pretending to be normal families in quiet towns. Let me tell you about the summer I thought I was going to die at Camp Night Moon. From the moment our bus driver put on that hideous monster mask to terrorize us kids, I knew something was terribly wrong, but nothing prepared me for the nightmare that followed. My roommate Mike found 2 venomous snakes coiled in his bed the first night. One bit him, and his hand began swelling purple with poison. When he went for help, Mike just vanished completely. His clothes, his suitcase, everything gone like he never existed. When I asked our counselor where Mike went, he stared at me with dead eyes and claimed no camper named Mike was ever registered. Then my friend Jay witnessed something horrific near the forbidden bunk, this creepy cabin we were warned to avoid. He and Roger snuck out to explore it, but Jay came running back screaming about a creature that attacked Roger in the darkness. When we reported it, staff insisted no Roger existed in their records either. Kids kept disappearing every day. 2 boys vanished on a hiking trip, others during canoe rides. The counselors acted like nothing happened, like these children were never there. I discovered the horrifying truth when I found all of our letters home stuffed in a mailbag, never sent. The phone was fake plastic. We were completely cut off from our parents. We were completely trapped. The final horror came when the camp director handed out rifles and ordered us to hunt down 2 escaped girls. I refused and aimed my gun at him instead, pulling the trigger. Then everything changed. Everyone started laughing and clapping. All the missing kids stepped out of the woods alive, including my parents. Camp Night Moon wasn't real. It was a secret government testing facility. My scientist parents needed to evaluate my character before taking me on their next mission: to study the most dangerous planet in the known universe, a strange, terrifying world called Earth. It started with a fire. I woke up screaming, surrounded by flames, until I realized it was just a dream. But something about that morning still felt off. My summer had been so boring until Danny moved in next door. At first, I thought it was great to have someone my age around. He was kind of cute, with bright red hair and a mischievous grin, but weird things kept happening. He didn't know any of the kids I knew at school, even though he claimed we went to the same one, and somehow he'd moved into the house next door without me noticing. He'd always show up when I least expected, then vanish before I could ask where he went. Once, I turned to say something, and he was just gone. No footsteps, no door closing, just gone. Another time I saw him step into the shadows by his house, and he completely disappeared, like the darkness swallowed him whole. I stared and stared, but there was nothing, no movement, no sound. Even when I followed him on my bike, trying to catch him meeting up with his so-called friends, he slipped away. He was only a block ahead of me, but by the time I rounded the corner, nothing. Like he'd blinked out of existence. That's when I started to wonder, what if Danny wasn't just another kid? What if he wasn't alive at all? Maybe he was a ghost. But that's when I discovered he wasn't the ghost. I was. The fire in my dream, it wasn't a dream. It had really happened years ago. I died in that fire. I just didn't know it. I was the ghost haunting the neighborhood. No one could see me except Danny. Danny was alive, and something dark was coming for him. I think I'm supposed to save him. A shadowy figure with red eyes began following us. It was trying to pull Danny into the afterlife, the same way I had been taken. But I wouldn't let it. I fought it with everything I had, and somehow I won. When it was over, I faded away. Danny was safe. So, if you ever wake up thinking something isn't quite right, or the world around you feels quiet, listen closely, because some of us don't even realize we're already gone.